In the tense episode of The Young and the Restless, Phyllis Summers is thrown into a spiral of intense emotions when confronted with what she believes is a false defense by Sharon Newman. This incident not only raises the stakes between the two women who are already at odds, but also throws the relationship around them into turmoil. Phyllis and her uncontrollable anger. Phyllis could not hide her horror when she heard Sharon defend herself against the murder charge. To Phyllis, Sharon's defense was nothing more than a sham to distract everyone from the crime she was sure Sharon had committed. While Nick Newman, who had always tried to stay calm and stay out of the argument, asked Phyllis to stop, Phyllis could not contain her frustration. She continued to criticize Sharon, determined to expose the truth she believed was obvious: Sharon was guilty. "Sharon, I'm innocent." In contrast to Phyllis's tension, Sharon stood her ground. She maintained her innocence, accusing Phyllis of never stopping her attacks, no matter what the reason. Sharon did not hesitate to respond with sharp words, asking Phyllis to go home if she did not want to continue to mess things up. But that only made Phyllis more determined, like a predator who would not let go of her target. Faith, a shocking accidental remark. The situation escalated when Sharon's daughter, Faith, suddenly blurted out an important detail: Sharon could not have killed Heather because she was unconscious when someone else was in the apartment. This statement immediately became the focus, causing everyone to be confused and suspicious. Phyllis, in her anger, dismissed this idea as completely absurd. However, information from Faith made the story more complicated. Not only does it challenge Phyllis's firm belief that Sharon is the killer, it also opens up a new possibility: maybe Sharon is actually telling the truth. Daniel and Phyllis, the new conflict. After gathering the information, Phyllis immediately goes to Daniel Romalotti Jr., her son, to discuss it. She hopes that Daniel will side with her and support the view that Sharon is guilty. Instead, Daniel surprises Phyllis by not completely dismissing the possibility that Sharon is telling the truth. At first, Daniel also doesn't believe Sharon's story about a mysterious person appearing in the apartment. However, he can't deny that there's something wrong with the way things are going. He feels like there's still a part of the truth that's not being revealed. This causes Phyllis to explode. She can't accept that Daniel, the person she trusted, would dare to question the truth that she's always been sure of. Her anger reaches its peak when she declares that if Daniel supports Sharon, he will be no different from others like Nick and Michael, whom she feels have betrayed her by siding with Sharon. Phyllis's unshakable faith. Despite all the evidence and opinions around her beginning to contradict each other, Phyllis remains steadfast in her belief that Sharon is guilty. For Phyllis, this is more than just a fight over guilt. It is a matter of honor and self-respect. She has put all her efforts into proving that Sharon is responsible, and she will not stop until Sharon pays the price. Phyllis, with a steely determination, declares that she will continue to fight, regardless of whether those around her turn against her. For her, justice is not just about bringing to light the truth, but also about standing up for what she believes in, even if that means standing alone in this fight. The big question remains. The story is not over yet. If Sharon is innocent, then who is really behind Heather's death? And if Sharon was indeed manipulated by someone, will Phyllis be able to accept that she was wrong? Or will her obsession with convicting Sharon cloud her ability to see the truth? The next episodes will surely keep viewers glued to their seats. With Phyllis's insistence on one side and Sharon's contradictory defense on the other, how will the truth be revealed? It all remains a mystery. Young and the Restless Spoilers reveal Phyllis's fear as she becomes the target of the truth about Heather's murder. The tensions and conflicts have not subsided. At Sharon Newman's house, the heated arguments between her and Phyllis Summers continue to escalate the conflicts that have existed for a long time. Sharon and Phyllis, the never-ending clash. The story begins when Phyllis suddenly appears at Sharon's house, bearing heavy accusations. "Your innocence is just a disgusting lie." Phyllis screams, unable to contain her anger. Sharon, who is tired of the baseless accusations, responds with a firm, "I did not kill Heather, that's the truth. If you can't accept that, then leave immediately." The argument quickly escalates as Phyllis lashes out at Sharon, saying Heather's death is an insult to her memory and a punch in the gut to my son. Meanwhile, Nick tries to defuse the situation, reminding her that it's Christmas Eve and no one wants to spend it arguing. But Sharon, pushed to her limits, decides not to give in anymore. "Go home, Phyllis. I've had enough of you." Sharon's daughter, Faith, suddenly appears to defend her mother. "Phyllis, there's someone else in that apartment, not my mother," Faith says firmly. But Phyllis, stubborn and angry, refuses to believe her. "You all may be fooled by Sharon, but I never will be." She continues to criticize Sharon, accusing her of ruining her son's life and hurting her granddaughter. Diane and Kyle's gift. Meanwhile, in another corner of Genoa City, Diane decides to do something meaningful for her son, Kyle. She gives him a heartfelt gift, a symbol of love and redemption. Although Diane is always surrounded by people's doubts and prejudices, this action shows that she still wants to rebuild her relationship with Kyle. Kyle, touched by his mother's sincerity, seems to start to rethink their relationship. The gift is not just a material thing, but also an emotional message that Diane will always be there for him, despite his past mistakes. Daniel and the shocking news. Meanwhile, Phyllis comes to Daniel's house with new information about the case involving Sharon. Michael Baldwin has a new plea, Phyllis announces. "You should know that Sharon has recanted her story. She was unconscious and there was a third person there. They are the ones who killed Heather." Daniel, who already distrusted Sharon, listened with concern. "Could she even do this?" he asked his mother. "I bet Sharon doesn't even know who this third person is." Phyllis, however, stuck to her guns, believing that Sharon was just trying to shirk responsibility. "So, what are we going to do about it?" Phyllis asked, putting Daniel in a difficult position. Although he didn't want to trust Sharon, the accusations his mother made also made him feel inadequate. He was filled with conflict as he faced the new details of the case. Ashley, Tracy, and Diane at Society. At Society, Ashley and Tracy were enjoying the Christmas atmosphere by discussing last-minute shopping. But the cheerful conversation was quickly interrupted when Diane entered the restaurant. Ashley, who disliked Diane, couldn't hide her annoyance. She groaned, "It's her again." Diane, aware of Ashley's unfriendly gaze, remains calm. She does not let prejudices influence her actions. However, her appearance inevitably stirs up new storms between her and the Abbott family members. Open ending for Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve in Genoa City is not as joyful as expected. Conflicts, secrets and hurts are still there, waiting to be resolved. But deep inside each character, the hope for healing and love is always present, like the sparkling light of Christmas lights. Can Sharon prove her innocence? How far will Phyllis go with her anger and hatred? And will Diane's gift be enough to mend her relationship with Kyle? All will continue to be revealed in the coming days in Genoa City.